Heyo guys, my name is Beta Eta Delota, and today we'll be talking about some furry things. The series where we discuss all the cute and fluffy topics relating to the furry fandom. Although I think this installment will be more along the lines of squeaky, puffy, and all sorts of inflated things than anything else. And no, I'm not talking about my life jacket, although I wouldn't be opposed. But since it's nearing the end of the summer season and everyone's starting to load up on pumpkin spice everything, I thought I'd cover something fairly summer related before it's all over. But this topic is kind of a big part of the furry fandom, ironically, but not too many people know why or how this fascination started in the first place. And that's the other thing. To some, like me, it's a natural fascination or interest, while to others, it might be a bit more intimate, but we'll talk about that later on. It's inflated in popularity to the point where you can't go a day on furry Twitter or even at a furry convention without seeing one of these. And too many of you have asked me for the last 2 years to do a video on this, so today, let's talk about pool toys and inflatables and why they have such a high prominence in the furry fandom. That was a really clean transition. Why can't all my videos be that way? Now, right off the bat, I do want to say that this video will strictly be PG-13 like all of my other ones. I understand the realm of pool toys and inflatables has a lot of not safe for work aspects to it with different subgenres of inflation, transformation, and other things I probably haven't discovered for the better, but at the same time, there is this natural fascination towards the idea of inflatables and pool toys. I'm in the category of people that's just interested, not for the fetish aspect, but the mere fascination or affinity for it being in the furry fandom. Because if it was strictly a not safe for work sub-interest, why would it have open panels and meetups at furry conventions? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So let's discuss it. Not the kinky, horny stuff, but what I and so many others probably see in it. Now, to properly start things off, for those that might not have any idea what we're talking about, pool toys are, well, those summer-themed inflatables you usually see around swimming areas or used as more aquatic decorations. You've probably seen some cool Fursona-based inflatable designs here and there, or some rather questionable art online, or even that ridiculous-looking inflatable swan thing. I want that so bad, please someone buy it for me. But pool toys have become pretty commonplace in the furry fandom, and not just at the poolside either, but at inflatable panels and even common spaces at furry conventions. Even I'm a bit guilty about this, with having gotten pool toy art of Maverick in the past and having been to an inflatable panel at Denver once. And I will say that they're pretty comfy to sit on, all things considered. The point is, at least for me, you see them everywhere in the fandom. They're big, puffy, and they really stand out, like probably more so than the fursuits. As for how they became kind of a staple in the furry fandom, my assumption is that pool toys existing as is sparked the interest. Specifically the pool toy animals that were made for kids or just the summer aesthetic that emanated from them. Like, come on, you don't see pool toy human designs being sold. That shit's uncanny as hell. Plus, the inflatable animal designs were quite satisfying and appealing to look at. The pool toy orca seems to have been the most popular design for furries, but personally, I was more of a green alligator type of kid than anything else. So I guess the pool toy thing in the fandom came to be because animal-based pool toys. Makes sense. Now, as for how they became popular or relatively enjoyed by a good amount of people is kind of confusing to me, because it doesn't seem like the type of thing that people would be all for. Well, then again, we're furries, we're all weird, everyone's weird, I'm weird, you're weird. But my guess, and this is probably a galaxy brain theory, is that someone initially brought one to a convention, and that alone perked someone else's interest, and from there that interest spread. Like I said before, pool toys and their designs stand out, so the more commonplace they are and the more you see them, the more you're gonna wonder about them. And all it takes is that initial interest for things to go downhill from there. And that's how memes were made. But regardless, they're a part of the fandom and have several sub-interests that attract all sorts of people to them. They're so ingrained in the fandom to the point where you have companies like Puffy Paws who specialize in making custom inflatable designs of all shapes and sizes. Their inflatables quality is pretty great, and I can attest to that as I actually got my own Speckles the Inflatable Sea Dino just to see what it was about. Last year they had pre-orders and I was kinda interested in doing a video on it at the time, so I splurged and bought one. Although a $650 purchase isn't justified by I was just curious about it, who cares? It's quarantine. Worst case scenario, I just find someone to sell it to after using it like twice. I'm part dragon, alright? I like shiny, colorful things, and Speckles is pretty much like that. So now that we've covered all that, the history of inflatables in the fandom and why they're here now, let's get on to the fun part that a lot of you are very curious about. Since pool toys and inflatables have a tendency to include more questionable actions than anything, with them sitting on the fence between fascination and fetish, are they safe to have in the furry fandom? Or rather, in public convention spaces or panel rooms? Because probably a greater percentage of individuals have a more intimate interest interest in it, and should it really be exposed to kids and the general public that way? Now, from someone who's been called all sorts of things for being remotely interested in life jackets, overinflated life jackets, and water safety, I honestly believe that pool toys are okay as long as nothing sexual is demonstrated out in public. Remember when you were playing Pokemon as a kid, or even still now, and you tried getting on your bike in the Pokemart and it says something like, there's a time and place for everything, but not now. Yeah, that kind of applies to the pool toy situation, or rather anything for that matter. It applies to fursuits and even applies to the fandom as a whole. People naturally fetishize all sorts of things, but you need to remember that not everyone wants to see that. It's okay to have the natural fascination with it, or even to have a bit more of a sexual interest in it. You just have to keep in mind where you are and what you're doing. I probably sound like a broken record with this, but what happens behind closed doors like that should probably stay behind closed doors. That's all, whether it's a pool toy or it's a fursuit for that matter. And for everyone watching this, regardless of what you're into or might judge harshly as a fascination or fetish, just keep in mind these three main rules when it comes to any of this. Does it hurt you? Does it hurt others? And is it morally questionable? If you can answer no to all three of these, then what someone might be interested in is okay. But the main point of this video is that pool toys and inflatables are just a chill thing in the fandom. Whatever you're into or do outside of the public eye, as long as it covers those three main rules, it's all good in my book. I may not want to hear about it, or see it for that matter, and you should respect others' wishes with it, but again, it's all good in my book. So on that note, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments as always. Apologies if this video seemed a bit lackluster or a bit shorter than normal. It's kind of hard to talk more about the subject that is safe for work, and also just like, what is a pool toy? It's a pool toy. There's really not much to talk about with it, believe it or not, but I think I covered the bare basics of the topic, and if need be, I'll do a part 2 or some other upload down the road. I live in New England, the weather is probably going to be like a heat flash in the fall season. It'll work out somehow. But if you guys want, I haven't really used the giant speckles inflatable at all, so I could do a live stream or extra video of me inflating it and trying it out again, but really, that's up to you. I want to make sure it's not just the sound of an electric pump going on and on for an hour, or it gets to the point where my Twitch chat gets horny. Well, actually, that's normally chat nowadays. But point being, just let me know what you guys want to see. I guess another real quick promo is I do have a merch store officially. If you didn't know, I'm officially partnered with Corgi Beans. It happened like a month ago, in which they'll be taking care of my merch from now on. It's the same individual that basically takes care of my plushies and pins and all sorts of stuff. We decided to just put it all on one website and have it all together, so if you want to get some new merch, the link is down below. I did just get this new Maverick pool toy design that I'm selling as a sticker, so hey, within the theme of the video, you should totally go and buy one. So besides all that and the weird outro, I've got nothing else. Have an awesome day, guys. And as always, stay life jacket. Take care. Hold on. We're getting somewhere. Where's my... I have no ammo. Okay. Oh my god! No way! You cannot be serious! I just got my first tactical